You are a liar. You look in the mirror and you see a good man. You stare into your own eyes and you see a soul that is pure, a heart that is kind, and a spirit that is gentle. You tell yourself that you are virtuous because you are peaceful. You tell yourself that you are morally superior to the criminal, the tyrant, and the monster because you do not inflict pain. You look at the chaos of the world, the wars, the betrayal, the violence, and you congratulate yourself for not participating in it. You believe that your lack of aggression is a choice. You believe that your silence is a sign of nobility. You convince yourself that staying out of trouble, keeping your head down, swallowing your pride, and refusing to fight are acts of high moral standing. This is the single greatest deception of your life. You are not peaceful, you are merely harmless. There is a vast, terrifying abyss between being a good man and being a harmless man, yet you have spent your entire life confusing the two. You have mistaken incapacity for morality. You have mistaken fear for virtue. This confusion is the source of your weakness. It is the root of your anxiety. It is the reason you feel invisible in a room full of people and why your impact on the world is negligible. You have built a monument to your own goodness, but it is built on a foundation of sand. Let us dissect this with a fundamental distinction that you have failed to make. Consider the rabbit. A rabbit is not virtuous because it does not eat the wolf. The rabbit does not refrain from violence because of a moral code. The rabbit is peaceful because it has no other option. It lacks the claws, the teeth, the muscle mass, and the predatory drive to be anything other than food. Its non-violence is not a moral stance, it is a biological limitation. The rabbit is prey. Its existence is defined by fear, by the necessity of flight, by the trembling instinct to hide in the grass when a shadow passes over it. There is no virtue in helplessness. There is no morality in incapacity. To be harmless because you cannot hurt anyone is not goodness, it is impotence. Now, look at the wolf. The wolf has the capacity to rip the throat out of its prey. It has the capacity for absolute, devastating violence. It is built for destruction. Its jaw is designed to crush bone. Its muscles are coiled for the strike. If the wolf chooses to sit quietly by the fire, if the wolf chooses to protect the pack rather than devour the weak, that is peace. That is virtue. Virtue is the voluntary restraint of power. Virtue requires that you are capable of becoming a monster, but you have the extreme discipline to keep the sword sheathed. If you do not have the sword, if you have never felt the weight of it in your hand, if you do not know how to swing it, you are not peaceful. You are simply defenseless. Carl Jung, the architect of the shadow and one of the few men who dared to look into the deepest darkness of the human psyche, diagnosed this pathology with terrifying accuracy. He stated that a harmless man is not a good man. A good man is a very dangerous man who has that danger under voluntary control. Yet, society has lied to you. From the moment you were born, you were fed a steady diet of pacifist propaganda. You were conditioned to believe that your natural instincts were errors in your programming. We live in a sanitized age that is terrified of masculine energy. The raw, unrefined drive of the male psyche, the drive to conquer, to dominate, to penetrate the world, to establish order through force, is viewed by the modern establishment as a pathology. So, they medicated it out of you. Think back to the surgery performed on your mind in childhood. Think back to the classrooms of your youth, the fluorescent lights, the rows of desks, the suffocation of your spirit. When you showed aggression, you were punished. When you were loud, you were shamed. When you wanted to roughhouse, to wrestle, to test your strength against another, you were told to use your words. You were taught that the highest moral virtue was compliance. You were taught that to be a good boy was to be a quiet boy. This systemic conditioning created what Jung called the persona. The persona is a mask. It is the artificial personality you construct to survive in a civilized group. It is the smile you fake for your boss when he disrespects you. It is the polite nod you give to the neighbor you despise. It is the nice guy. Now, understand this. There is nothing inherently wrong with having a persona. It is a necessary tool for social lubrication. We cannot go around snarling at everyone. The danger, the fatal error, is identification. Most of you have worn the mask for so long that you have forgotten there is a face underneath. You have identified with your captivity. You believe that you act this way because it is who you are. You believe that your anxiety, your hesitation, your conflict avoidance, and your fear of confrontation are your personality traits. They are not traits, they are scars. They are the result of amputation. You have cut off the dangerous parts of your soul to fit into a box that is too small for you, and the result is a profound, aching resentment that sits in your chest like a stone. To understand the nature of this weakness, we must perform an autopsy on your psyche. You operate under the delusion that you are a singular, unified entity. You believe that the voice in your head, the one that says, "I am a nice person," is the totality of who you are. This is a biological error. You are not one person, you are a fragmentation. Beneath the ego, beneath the mask, lies the shadow. The shadow is not a poetic metaphor for evil. It is a specific biopsychological mechanism. It is the sum total of all those psychic elements that you have rejected, denied, and repressed because they were incompatible with your chosen persona. It is the I not. When you look in the mirror, you say, "I am kind, I am not cruel." But where do you think the cruelty went? Do you think it vanished because you refuse to acknowledge it? Physics dictates that energy cannot be created or destroyed. It can only change form. The first law of thermodynamics applies to the psyche as much as it applies to the steam engine. When you repress an emotion or an instinct, you do not kill it. You merely banish it from the light of consciousness. But here is the horror of the situation. That which you repress does not die. It regresses. It moves into the basement. When a biological impulse is denied expression, it does not sit quietly. It festers. It becomes primitive, archaic, and toxic. A man who integrates his aggression can become a great athlete, a dynamic leader, or a fierce protector. His aggression is sophisticated. It is a tool under his command. A man who represses his aggression does not become peaceful. He becomes passive-aggressive. He becomes petty. He becomes the man who smiles to your face and sabotages you behind your back. His aggression has not disappeared. It has simply rotted. This is the architecture of the nice guy. He is not a man of virtue. He is a walking graveyard of buried instincts. Jung warned that the shadow is not just a trash can for your sins. It is the reservoir of your vitality. This is the critical concept you must understand if you wish to stop being harmless. The shadow contains the gold. You feel weak, lethargic, and unmotivated not because you lack energy, but because your energy is locked in a civil war. Repression is an active process. It is not passive. It requires a constant, high-level expenditure of force to keep the trapdoor shut. Imagine a man trying to hold a starving wolf underwater. He must use every ounce of his strength, every muscle fiber, just to keep the beast submerged. He has no strength left to build a house, to fight a battle, to love a woman, or to create a legacy. He is exhausted by the act of pretending to be good. The nice guy is structurally incapable of greatness because greatness requires the very energies he has demonized. Ambition is nothing more than integrated greed. Courage is nothing more than integrated aggression. Charisma is nothing more than integrated sexuality. By severing your connection to the shadow, you have severed your connection to the engine of life. You have made yourself sterile. You are good, yes, but you are good in the way a castrated ox is good, docile, manageable, and destined for the slaughterhouse. This exploration brings us to the most uncomfortable realization of your life. It is captured in a single, terrifying sentence by Carl Jung. No tree, it is said, can grow to heaven unless its roots reach down to hell. The modern man is obsessed with the branches. He wants the spiritual enlightenment, the social status, and the heaven of being perceived as a good person. But he refuses to send his roots into the mud. He refuses to acknowledge the reality of the underworld. Consequently, he has no foundation. To be a formidable man, a man who can actually do good rather than just look good, you must understand the nature of atrocity. And you must understand it personally. Most nice guys operate under a delusion of historical superiority. You look back at the atrocities of the 20th century, the gulags, the concentration camps, the killing fields, and you tell yourself a comforting lie. You say, I would never have done that. You tell yourself that if you were a guard at a concentration camp, you would have been the hero who smuggled bread to the prisoners. You believe you would have been the resistance. You are arrogant. And you are naive. Statistically, psychologically, and historically, you are almost certainly wrong. You would have done exactly what the others did. You would have followed orders. You would have looked the other way. You would have succumbed to the pressure of the group. Why? Because you are human. And the human animal is not fundamentally good. The human animal is fundamentally capable. We are a species capable of the highest acts of transcendent sacrifice and the darkest acts of mechanical sadism. Both software programs are installed on your hard drive. If you deny that the red code of malevolence exists within you, you have no defense against it. This is the paradox of the shadow. The man who thinks he is incapable of evil is the one most prone to possession by it. When you believe you are only good, you become blind to your own capacity for destruction. You rationalize your cruelty. You justify your betrayal. The nice guy destroys his ex-wife's reputation in court, not because he admits he is vindictive, but because he convinces himself he is the victim seeking justice. He commits evil while wearing the mask of virtue, which makes him far more dangerous than the open villain. To integrate the shadow is to look at the history of human warfare, torture, and betrayal, and say, I am a human. Nothing human is alien to me. I have the capacity to be a monster. This admission does not turn you into a psychopath. It shocks you into humility. It forces you to become vigilant. Once you understand that you carry a loaded weapon in your soul, you stop waving it around carelessly. You treat others with respect, not because you are weak, but because you know the severe consequences of unleashing the beast. If you are watching this and you identify as a nice guy, we must now address the economics of your relationships. The central pathology of the harmless man is the covert contract. This is the hidden economic model of his existence. The nice guy views human relationships as a vending machine. He believes that if he inserts enough tokens of nice behavior, the world is obligated to dispense a reward. He believes that if he is a supportive listener, she owes him sex. He believes that if he sacrifices his own needs for his boss, the company owes him loyalty. He believes that if he never offends anyone, life owes him a smooth path. This is not kindness. This is prostitution. You are selling your compliance in exchange for intimacy. You are trading your autonomy for safety. But because you are too cowardly to state the price up front, you hide the price tag. You pretend your kindness is free. You act as if you are giving from a place of altruism, but you are actually keeping a ledger. But here is the truth. It is never free. It is a debt. and like a predatory lender, you track every transaction in your head. And when the world does not pay up, because the world never signed your contract, because she never agreed to trade affection for your servitude, you do not just get sad, you get vindictive. This is the birth of resentment. The nice guy looks at the men who are winning, the men who are assertive, the men who take what they want, the men who do not ask for permission, and he despises them. He calls them toxic. He calls them arrogant. But deep down, in the pit of his stomach, he envies them. He envies their freedom. He envies their ability to exist without apologizing. This envy turns inward and becomes poison. The nice guy drinks this poison every day and waits for his enemies to die. This repression leads to a specific type of behavioral rot called passive aggression. Because the nice guy cannot engage in open conflict, he engages in guerrilla warfare. He is the master of the backhanded compliment. He is the employee who forgets to send the email until it is too late. He is the husband who says do whatever you want with a tone that implies absolute suffering. He is an emotional terrorist. He holds the relationship hostage with his fragility. He weaponizes his victimhood. And finally, we must confront the inevitable conclusion of this pathology, the hysterical explosion. You cannot repress the shadow forever. The energy you bury does not vanish, it pressurizes. The dangerous man vents his aggression in small, controlled doses. He sets boundaries, he speaks his mind, he handles conflict as it arises. The nice guy has no valve. He swallows the insult. He packs it down, layer by layer, year after year, until one day the vessel ruptures. When a harmless man snaps, he does not fight like a man, he lashes out like a cornered rat. It is not a controlled strike, it is a hysterical, total annihilation. This is the psychology of the domestic abuser who claims he loved her so much he couldn't control himself. This is the psychology of the workplace shooter who was quiet and kept to himself. You are not protecting the world from your darkness by hiding it, you are incubating a monster. You are a ticking time bomb disguised as a saint. And the clock is ticking. How do we break this cycle? We must reclaim language. We must reclaim the ancient definition of meekness. In the modern world, meek is a synonym for weak. It implies softness, submissiveness, and a lack of spine. But the original biblical term, praus, had a military definition. It was used to describe a war horse. A war horse is 2,000 pounds of muscle, adrenaline, and fury. It is a beast bred for combat. It has hooves that can crush a skull. It has the power to charge into a wall of spears. It is a biological weapon. But when the warhorse is meek, it is under the absolute, disciplined control of the rider. It responds to the slightest touch of the rein. It charges when told to charge, and it stands still in the face of chaos when told to stand. Meekness is not weakness. Meekness is power under control. The nice guy is not a warhorse. He is a donkey. He is harmless because he is powerless. He has no capacity for violence, so his peace is meaningless. You must become the warhorse. You must cultivate the capacity for dangerous action. You must know that you could destroy the person standing in front of you physically, verbally, or socially, but you choose not to. That choice is the only thing that makes you moral. Without the capacity for mayhem, your morality is just cowardice in a Sunday suit. The cure for the nice guy syndrome is not self-love. It is not positive affirmations. It is not more therapy where you cry about your feelings. The cure is integration. You do not remove the shadow. You do not exorcise the demon. You recruit him. You must take that starving, feral wolf in your basement and put a collar on him. You must feed him, you must train him, and you must stand beside him. Because when you walk into a room with a wolf at your heel, the world treats you very differently than when you walk in alone. This is the process of becoming formidable. First, you must stop lying to yourself. You must perform a forensic audit of your own capacity for malevolence. Sit in the dark, turn off your phone, and ask yourself the forbidden questions. If there were no laws and no consequences, who would I hurt? Who do I secretly hate? What sexual fantasies am I ashamed of? What dark ambition do I harbor? Do not judge the answers. Do not flinch. Just observe them. When you admit to yourself that you want to watch your enemy fail, you stop being possessed by that desire. You move the impulse from the unconscious, where it controls you, to the conscious, where you control it. You will realize something disturbing. You are not a nice person. Good. Now you are an honest person. Now you have something to work with. Next, you need to grow teeth. The philosophy of peace through strength is not just for nations, it is for men. You cannot be meek if you are weak. If you are weak, you are just a victim in waiting. To be meek, you must first possess the capacity for violence. You need to become dangerous. If you have never been in a fight, you do not know yourself. You are operating on a theory of who you are. You must make contact with reality. Go to a Brazilian jiu-jitsu gym. Go to a boxing gym. Not to get fit, not to look good, but to learn how it feels to have another man try to strangle you. Go there to learn that you can strangle another man. There is a profound psychological shift that happens when you know with absolute certainty that you could physically dismantle the person disrespecting you. You don't need to do it, you don't want to do it, but the knowledge that you can creates an aura of calm. You stop fidgeting, you stop giggling nervously. You hold the eye contact of a predator, not prey. This is sovereignty. Physical capability changes your nervous system. The nice guy is perpetually in a state of high alert, a state of anxious, sympathetic arousal. He is jumpy, but the man who knows he can handle violence relaxes. He enters a state of parasympathetic dominance. He moves slower, he speaks deeper, he breathes from his belly. This is not an act. This is the biological signal of a predator who is not hungry. This is the signal of a lion lounging in the sun. The gazelles are nervous. The lion is relaxed. You have been the gazelle for your entire life. It is time to evolve. Finally, you must learn calibration and the art of the disagreeable no. The nice guy is always at a 0 or a 10. He's either a doormat or a maniac. The integrated man has a dial. He can be at a 2. He can be at a 6. He operates with surgical precision. This begins with the destruction of the covert contract. Stop doing things for people with the expectation of a return they didn't agree to. If you want to do something nice, do it because you choose to. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. You must learn the power of the disagreeable no. The next time someone asks you for a favor that you resent, say no. Do not offer an excuse. Do not lie and say you are busy. Do not apologize. Just say, no, I'm not going to do that. Watch what happens. The nice guy thinks the world will end. The reality is the opposite. They will respect you. People test fences to see if they are electric. When you shock them, they stop leaning on you. They realize you are not a public utility, you are a private entity. Your no gives value to your yes. If you cannot say no, your yes is meaningless. It is just compliance. But if you are a man who protects his time, who protects his energy, then when you choose to give your time, it is a gift. It is an honor. We have dragged your psyche through the mud. We have dissected the weakness. We have opened the trapdoor. Now we ascend. But we do not ascend to the light of the New Age pacifist. We ascend to the grey. We ascend to the reality of the sovereign. There is a terrifying truth that Jung uncovered in his later years, a truth that most modern psychologists are too cowardly to touch. He spoke of a deity older than the Christian God and the devil. He spoke of Abraxas. Abraxas is the God who unites the opposites. He is the light and the dark. He is the creation and the destruction. He is the bird breaking out of the egg. You must become Abraxas. The nice guy tries to be only light. He amputates his shadow to achieve a purity that does not exist in nature. In doing so, he becomes a ghost. The criminal tries to be only dark. He is consumed by his shadow. He becomes a beast. The integrated man stands in the center. He holds the capacity for absolute destruction in his right hand and the capacity for absolute nurturing in his left. He does not choose one. He masters both. You have been told that violence never solves anything. This is a lie. Violence has solved more problems in history than any other force. Violence ended slavery. Violence stopped the Nazis. Violence established the borders of every nation on earth. The very peace you enjoy today, the coffee you drink in safety, the internet you use to watch this video was purchased with the violence of better men than you. When you claim to be harmless out of moral superiority, you are spitting on the graves of the men who used their dangerous capacity to create the safety you now take for granted. You are not peaceful. You are a freeloader on the peace established by the dangerous. If you want to be a man of value, you must stop outsourcing your defense to the state, to the police, or to society. You must become a localized unit of order in a world of entropy. This is the burden of the formidable good. To be formidable means that you are a force of nature. It means that your presence changes the temperature of the room. It means that your kindness is valuable because it is rare and because it is backed by power. Think of the archetype of the warrior poet. A poet who cannot fight is just a scribbler of pretty words. He is fragile. A warrior who cannot think is just a blunt instrument. He is dangerous to himself. But the warrior poet, he is the apex of human development. He can kill you, or he can move your soul. He has the full range of the human experience at his fingertips. This is what Jung meant when he said, "I would rather be whole than good." Goodness, as defined by your society, is compliance. It is obedience. Wholeness is dangerous. Wholeness is the acceptance that you are a biological machine built for conquest, for sex, for territory, and for war. But let us go deeper into the concept of the shadow, for it is here that the true power lies. The shadow is not just aggression, it is also creativity. It is spontaneity. It is the part of you that laughs at a funeral. It is the part of you that yearns for chaos. When you suppress the dark, you also suppress the light. You suppress the spark. This is why the nice guy is so boring. He is predictable, he is safe, he is beige. Women are not attracted to safe men. They are attracted to dangerous men who make them feel safe. There is a massive difference. The dangerous man who is disciplined offers a shelter from the storm because he is the storm mastered. The safe man offers nothing but a lack of threat. He is not a shelter, he is just a void. To integrate the shadow is to reclaim your color. It is to become vivid. It is to allow yourself to be unpredictable. You must also reclaim selfishness. Yes, selfish. You have been taught that selfishness is a sin, but without a self, you cannot help others. You cannot pour from an empty cup. You must build your own kingdom before you can invite others into it. You must secure your own oxygen mask before assisting others. This is not cruelty, this is logistics. The nice guy gives until he is depleted, and then he resents the people he gave to. The sovereign man fills his own cup first and then gives from the overflow. His giving is joyous because it costs him nothing. He has plenty. He has surplus. He has abundance. So, here is your final instruction. Burn the contract. Go into the filing cabinet of your mind and tear up the nice guy agreement. The world owes you nothing. The world will not save you. If you are weak, you will be eaten. This is the law of the jungle, and it has not changed just because we have iPhones and air conditioning. Stop fearing your monster. That rage you feel, that dark, twisting envy, that is not evil. That is your engine. That is the nuclear reactor that has been melting down because you refuse to plug it into the grid. Connect it. Use your aggression to attack your goals. Use your greed to build your empire. Use your lust to fuel your vitality. Become the horror. I want you to be the man that the bad guys are afraid of. When the tyrant enters the room, he should look at you and feel a chill. He should recognize a fellow predator. He should see in your eyes that you know the game and that you are ready to play it. This is the only way to ensure peace. The only thing that stops a bad man with a sword is a good man with a sword. Be the good man with the sword. Be the monster who chooses to be a guardian. You have two choices. Choice 1. You can remain harmless. You can remain safe. You can remain the nice guy. You will live a life of quiet desperation. You will be resentful. You will be walked on. You will be the background character in your own movie, and you will die realizing that you never actually lived. You only avoided getting hurt. Choice 2. Integrate the shadow. Accept the monster. Grow your teeth. Become the warhorse. You will be feared by some. You will be hated by the weak, but you will be respected by the strong, and you will be capable of protecting that which you love. The door to the cage is open, the leash is cut. What are you going to do? Consider the cost of your current path. Consider the years you have already lost to hesitation. Consider the opportunities that slipped through your fingers because you were too afraid to grab them. Consider the women who lost interest because they felt no fire in you. Consider the promotions that went to lesser men because they were willing to demand them. Can you afford another 10 years of this? Can you afford to reach the end of your life and look back at a legacy of politeness? No one writes eulogies for the harmless. No one builds statues for the compliant. No one remembers the man who followed all the rules. You were born for more than this. You were born to struggle. You were born to overcome. You were born to impose your will upon the chaos of reality and carve out a space of order. This requires force. This requires friction. If you are not meeting resistance, you are not moving. If everyone likes you, you are doing something wrong. Polarization is the sign of a life being lived. Do not be afraid to be disliked. Be afraid of being ignored. The awakening is cold because it strips away the warm blanket of your delusions. It leaves you naked in the wind. But the cold wakes you up. The cold sharpens your senses. The cold reminds you that you are alive. Do not go back to sleep. Do not put the mask back on. It will never fit again. You have seen the truth. You are not a nice guy. You are a sleeping beast. Wake up. If you are ready to stop being harmless and start being formidable, this is your tribe. We do not offer comfort. We offer the fire that burns away the dead wood. We offer the steel that sharpens steel. Subscribe to The Cold Awakening. Share this message with the men in your life who are sleepwalking toward the cliff. And remember, the only way out is through. The only way to heaven is to send your roots to hell. Stand up, bare your teeth, and begin.